A beautiful morning to you. This is Housing Development, a program that answers your question on home ownership, housing mortgage, housing interiors, and designs anything and everything that's got to do with housing. I am your housing diva, Fleur Annie. Coming up on Housing Development, stakeholders lament on the increase in the prices of building materials. Town planners advocate for proper urban planning in tackling flooding in Nigeria. Is it right for a landlord to increase house rent without putting necessary amenities in place? Let's discuss this and more on the program right after the trending news in the housing sector.
The federal government has commenced construction of 500 housing units in Bauchi State. The mass housing project promoted by the Northeast Development Commission (NEDC) consists of blocks of 4 units of 2-bedroom bungalows with lobby and courtyard. Each block sits on 400 square meters and a fence separates the houses. Every unit has kitchen, toilet and bathrooms and ample space for home living activities. Among the amenities in the estate is streetlights, reticulated water supply system, commercial spaces, amongst others. The managing director of the commission, Mohammed Al-Khali, said that the construction became necessary after the destruction of 500,000 houses out of about 4 million existing in the region. The managing director, Affordable Housing Limited, Yemi Adelakun, has stated that the depreciation of the naira would have far-reaching impact on real estate. He said that the cost of building materials, especially imported ones, will increase, and this will be passed on to off-takers as higher prices of real estate. Meanwhile, President, International Real Estate Federation, FIAPC Nigeria, Adeniji Adele, blamed the crisis on bad implementation of various government policies over the years as a result of double standards and inconsistency. He added that the market has reacted negatively to the continuing rising exchange rate, which had affected cost of building materials and labor in the built environment. Nigeria's real estate sector has reported 3.85% growth in the second quarter of 2021, representing its highest growth in 6 years owing to the full reopening of the economy and increased investment interest. The 3.85% growth is the sector's highest second quarter growth since the 4.95% growth in Q2 2014, as a study of data released by the National Bureau of Statistics (NBS) shows. However, a breakdown of the NBS data interprets that the sector's contribution in the review period was slightly lower by 0.6 percentage points. From contributing 5.34% in Q2 2020, the sector contributed 5.28% in the same quarter of this year. In spite of the slowdown in the economy, which reduced household income and crimped consumer purchasing power, the real estate sector has seen increased investment interest, with individual and institutional investors raising capital and deploying the same into the sector.
For housing news as they unfold in the sector, do well to visit www.africanhousingnews.com. Urban planning answers questions about how people live, work, and play in a given area. With the recent flooding experience in several parts of the country that has caused a lot of damage to families, communities, and the nation at large, town planners advocate for proper urban planning before development to cushion the effects of flooding.
Flooding has become a major hazard in Nigeria in recent years. It was estimated that Nigeria suffered combined losses of more than $16.9 billion in damaged properties, oil production, agricultural and other losses due to flood events in the past several years. Increased flood events, coupled with lack of coping capacity and high levels of vulnerability of the people, have continued to put many lives and properties at risk. Stakeholders are therefore increasingly concerned about the threats of flooding to communal safety and national development. Town planner Olutoyin Ayinde, the national president of Nigeria Institute of Town Planners, says in mitigating the effects of flood, planning should be done before development, as planning precedes development.
You do not develop before planning. The sequence all over the world is that planning precedes development, just like thinking precedes speaking. The good book says, do you see a man who speaks without thinking? There's more hope for a fool than for him. So do you see a man who develops without planning? There's more hope for a fool than for him. Such things like flood are the things that prove that fools are developing, because you are required to plan. And planning helps you to know the places that are floodable, the places that are wetland, the places that are low-lying. And when those information come to you, it helps you to take meaningful decisions of how to develop.
He also stated that most flooding have been caused by non-adherence to principles of planning and physical planning standards.
Flooding in estates like Trademore or others that may come in future, if we are not wise enough, it will be because we have not followed the principles of planning. We can't make headway trying to develop without planning. It's chaos. We are headed for destruction. In fact, the way I put it is that we either plan or we perish. Planning helps us to know how to properly organize our land uses.
The absence of proper urban development planning process has over the years resulted in the gross distortion of ecological systems and has abused the floodplains, especially in the low-lying cities. In tackling flood risk in Nigeria, town planner Olutoyin calls on the federal government and all stakeholders involved to understand the concept of planning before development.
The only way forward is as old as humanity. Socrates in 470 BC to 399 BC, that's even before Christ was born, he said by far the most admirable form of wisdom is that needed to plan and beautify cities and human communities. So if someone knew that centuries ago, we must be joking if we think we will make any headway without planning. So that's why our chief executives, the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, the governors of every state in Nigeria, the local government chairmen, people, leaders of thought, people, Nigerians generally, the ordinary man selling cigarettes on the street must understand the concept of planning, that when we do not plan, we are not hoping to make any headway in life.
Meanwhile, the national president of Real Estate Developers Association of Nigeria, Alhaji Aliyu Wamako, has also called on all developers and REDAN members to implement and adhere to the right-approved plans during construction.
We call on our members, who are the developers, to always respect the extant laws of building. Nobody is supposed to build on the waterways. So we feel that the extant laws is for you to respect what is given to you by development control approval.
There is need for development control to go back to the drawing table, go down to the master plan, look at, because even in the master plan there are waterways, so they should be able to look at it and say, okay, we're going to come up with a blueprint that has to do with how to control this flood, because houses are coming up, whether you like it or not, people will keep building.
Town planner Olutoyin Ayinde there, the national president, Nigerian Institute of Town Planners, speaking on flooding and the need for urban planning, and also Dr. Aliyu Wamako advising all developers and REDAN members to adhere to the right-approved plan during construction to avoid cases of flooding in their housing estates.
My name is Benga Al-Shafa, the Chief Executive of Federal Housing Authority. Keep watching Housing Program.
Now, these are not the best of times for potential homeowners and developers, as a sharp increase in prices of building materials across the country is now a major challenge. The cost of raw materials such as iron rods, cement, finishing paint, and other components rose by over 300% in recent times. What will be the effect of these in the sector? These architects have this to say.
In recent times, there have been a dramatic increase in the cost of building materials in Nigeria, and this development threatens the performance of the construction industry. However, building items have been playing important roles as they have contributed immensely to the quality and cost of housing, and are a huge contributor to the national economy of any nation. To shed light on this subject, John Ochogu, an architect, stated that the increase in the cost of building materials in Nigeria was a reflection of the economy. He emphasized that the rise was propelled by the inflation of building materials as well as the naira value to purchase these items.
The shift in the price of building materials is temporal. It is indexed to the price or the exchange rate on the foreign exchange market. So whereas today it seems to have gone up so much, in all honesty, it's only a reflection of the economy. So if, for instance, Forex were to drop to 1:197 as it once was, expect instantly that the cost of building materials will drop. So it is hoped that the average revenue per user will also go up and down, except for those on fixed salaries first. So it's not as if the cost of those materials have gone up. It's that the naira value to pay for it has gone up. So the cost per square meter for affordable housing will be somewhere between $180 and $270 per square meter everywhere else in the world. Medium income will be somewhere about $300 to $500 per square meter, and then high will be $570 to $620 per square meter.
Meanwhile, other architects insisted that the increase in building materials was due to the type of policy given by the government and ingenuity. Chike Obiano advised that local production should be encouraged in order to tackle the inflation of price issue in the industry.
Well, it's a couple of things combined. It has to do with government policy. It also has to do with ingenuity. Right from time immemorial, our houses were built in the ancient times with materials that were within our close proximities. So in terms of economies of distance, we need to be able to work out industrial clusters that are as close to the site as possible. If we have, for example, a ceramics factory in every geopolitical zone in this country, kaolin is very widely available all over the country, as well as other building materials. If we have a shortage of, for example, aluminum roofing sheets, we can develop alternatives in clay tiles for roofing. So we need to do research, and government needs to invest in research, as well as the institute, for example, investing in research to come up with new materials. Government policies need to help also local production, and then Nigerians, the members of the public who will use these materials, there needs to be a mindset change, because you see, people always want to use foreign materials because they feel it's more superior. But I think we are in a situation where there's an opportunity for us to have that change in mindset to choose homegrown solutions.
I think one of the key things is local production. Somehow capacity has to be built for local production. You cannot import things continually because Forex and the markets is not going to work. I mean, we're all aware of the current situation right now. So I think it's finding ways by which more people will be encouraged to manufacture local items. If it's nails, if it's timber boarding, if it's flooring, if it's properly tested block work and so on, that will help.
Furthermore, John Ochogu added that the way out of this hiccup was for manufacturers to always put into consideration the consumers that would use their products and specify for the high, medium, and low-income earners.
The increase in the prices of building materials do not only affect the construction industry, but also is creating a significant impact on distributors, contractors, as well as prospective homeowners. At this point, if a landlord decides to increase the house rent of his tenants without putting in place basic amenities to make the house more habitable, would that be right? Let's hear the opinions of some Nigerians on Voices on the Street.
It is quite not good at all that a landlord will not renovate the house. The house belongs to the landlord, and the tenant will not go with the house anytime the tenant is going. So the landlord should take care of his house because it's property, because he earns from it, and it's part of his living. So it's advisable that landlord should take care of the house, not the tenant at all.
The tenant need to be notified by the landlord before the increment, so that the tenant can decide whether to stay or not. Then concerning the renovation, if at all there is anything done such, being a landlord has the right to increase the house rent. But there is need for such a landlord to think about the tenant, the income, because many people, they use that as an avenue to impose the rent and at the same time cause a hardship to the tenant.
Now, if you want landlord to renovate his house or to build another one, he has to think about the current price of cement. I think, as I'm talking to you now, all this quarry where we are buying granite, they are telling us that in the next 2 weeks, the price of granite will increase. Now, what is going to happen with the house that we are selling? What is going to happen with the landlord that built house, that's collecting, that rely on his economy, he will pay his children school fees, he will feed, he will do everything based on housing. How do you want him to get money to renovate?
The landlord needs to renovate the property that is collecting rent from, because what the tenant is paying is to accommodate him, because it is conditioned enough, it is a very good place, that's why he packed it. So the landlord has a power, a mandate to be renovating the property to keep the property fit for habitation.
Timberlock wood preservative surpasses all preventive measures designed to permanently prevent the damage and quality reduction of wood and wood-based materials by termites, fungi, bacteria, and other boring insects. Use Timberlock Premium Wood Preservative to prevent, correct, and defend wood and wood materials against deformities caused by termites and other insects in the later days. Timberlock is designed to solve wood preservation challenges with a standard you can trust. Timberlock Wood Preservative kills termites instantly. Timberlock Wood Preservative, the wood preservative brand leader in Africa.
Voices on the Street there on rent increment. Up next is real estate company for the week, and that goes to Jedediah Gardens in Enugu State, developed by Copen Group.
Copen Services Limited is a unique firm with a diversified interest in real estate, construction, services, and consultancy. From its modest beginning as a small outfit between 1992, when it was incorporated, and 1995, when it began full operations, Copen has grown in these few years into a large real estate development company located in the new Independence layout at Centenary City area along Enugu-Port Harcourt Express Road. Jedediah Gardens, one of Copen's estates, is an upgraded version of what is in its Goshen estate. It is made up of many residential buildings, mostly of 3-bedroom bungalows in a serene and secured environment. Commissioned in 2017 by Governor Ifeanyi Ugwuani of Enugu State, Copen's Jedediah Gardens is like no other, with infrastructure such as asphalted and quality access roads, good water provision facilities, recreational facility such as a football pitch, good street lighting in every part, standard transformer, robust drainage system, amongst others.
Jedediah Gardens, as of 2017 when we started development, we started with 3 different options. Okay, we had the one we call the not too young to own a home, because we know that when it comes to housing, one of the things people look out for is affordability. And because of that, we had to bring in categorizations. We had to bring in different options. Depending on the capacity of your pocket, you can go for any of the options. If you can't go for option A, you can go for B, you can go for B, you can go for C.
3 reasons that make Jedediah Gardens stand out include provision of basic infrastructure, especially the gigantic Jedediah Plaza just opposite the estate, 24-hour security with the building of a police station close to the estate, and the beautiful flowery environment with green areas. The over 270 housing units estate, one of the biggest owned by the Copen Group, has created over 2,000 jobs for artisans, is now fully subscribed.
Jedediah Gardens is fully subscribed. Okay, and if you looked at the environment, you see that everywhere is littered with people, and it's a community, a fantastic community of its own. Okay, and then beyond Jedediah Gardens, we also have done other projects before this.
The Enugu State-based estate management firm, Copen Services Limited, is known to have recorded a very significant stride in the quest to address the nation's about 20 million huge housing deficit through the development of various affordable housing estates in different parts of the country. Apart from Jedediah Gardens, other estates by the firm include Goshen, Elim, Bethel, Jubilee, Ibano, among others.
You're still watching Housing Development, and this is the point where we review our housing crush for this Wednesday. Let's have a look at our crush for the day.
Our main crush this Wednesday is the Chief Executive Officer, Cosgrove Investments Limited, Omar Abdullahi. He is especially adept at managing complex projects and diverse teams. It is no longer news that under his leadership, Cosgrove continues to achieve set goals. Omar's attention for details and standard is a key factor that guaranteed reputation for the company's housing products. The structural buildings of his company is second to none. He has been honored as Real Estate Developer of the Year in his individual capacity by the Nigerian Institute of Architects, and was also awarded the AIHS Africa Leadership Award. Omar Abdullahi is a selfless and loving father and husband. His entire staff refer to him as the most amazing boss. These and more qualifies Omar Abdullahi as our main crush this Wednesday.
Safe and affordable housing is a basic necessity for every family. Without a decent place to live, people cannot be productive members of the society, children cannot learn, and families cannot strive. Low-cost housing should be given topmost priority in this country. Thanks for watching Housing Development. Keep it there same time next week. As always, I remain Flora Ani, your Housing Diva. See you soon.